Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have a sad story. Let's begin. One man was married to a lady, and the man was a truck driver. The man would go from home driving with his car to his truck driving company. He would place his car, park his car, and he would get out and go into a truck. That truck was loaded with food and all kind of things for other countries where he had to drive to about 8 hours. The man drove 8 hours to his destination. The cargo was placed off the truck, emptied. The man he 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 had the exact truck, but it was filled with new food and beverages and all kind of things for other countries, for the exact country he had to drive back. The man drove back 8 hours, so the man was 16 hours driving from one country to back to his country, then getting out of the truck, unloading that truck, and then driving in his car and going back home to his lady. The man was 17 hours away from home a day. He spent a couple of hours in his home to charge up, and then he would do his job the next day again. Now, after 1 year doing this up and down, the lady he was married to had it. She didn't see him a lot, they had no time together, their relationship was ending, and she didn't have any fun anymore. So she told him, I don't want a relationship anymore. He accepted, she left him, and he was working about 3 years up and down every day. He had to cook for himself, he had to clean the house, he had to do all the things his lady was used to do for him. After a while, his lady returned. She told him, I want to give you another chance. It's okay. I can't forget you. You're my first. We have to try it again. But in one way, I have to sit with you in a truck when you drive, and then I can see you more. So I'll tag along. The man agreed, and every morning the lady traveled in his car. They went to his factory, and they went both in the truck. And she would drive with him 8 hours to a destination, and she would sit in the car, and he would arrange everything, and then she would sit back in the car with him, travel back to where he started. This would go on 2 years. That she would sit with him and drive with him and always see him more than she used to. After 2 years, one day came, the next day after 2 years, they sat in the car, they were driving on the road, and all of a sudden they had an accident. The truck hit a pole. The two people she was badly hurt, he was badly hurt, and they had to go to the hospital. They sat in the hospital and they had a conversation, and she said to him, I should have never returned to you, then this wouldn't happen. I knew my feelings were wrong. He said to her, I was doing my job, it's your fault. You told me you wanted to give it a try. And after that, they both started crying and saying, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't want to be with you anymore. And they both were crying, and then came a nurse in. She said, pipe down, you two. What's wrong? They said, we had a relationship together. We had an accident. I told them, I want to be with you, and now this happened. I don't want to be with him. She's crying. He's saying, I don't want to be with her anymore. I've had it with her. And the nurse talks to them and calms them down. And the nurse convinced them to give another try. So after a while, the nurse kept talking to them and saying words, you have to calm down, you have to give it another try. The whole time they were in the hospital, When they came out of the hospital, they were so totally convinced that they had to give it another try. They gave it another try together. She would travel with him in the truck again, and he would travel destinations, and they would do this 4 years. After 4 years, the next day, that was the bad day. That was the worst day for them. They were traveling in a truck, and they had a lot of cars in front of them, and they crashed into the cars, and they came flying out the windshield. And they were on the floor, and the cars were hitting them, and they had tire prints on their faces. They both died. Now, the nurse, she heard what happened to them, and she blamed herself. She said, I wish I never said I'd give him another try. That's my fault. When I had not said to them, give it another try, they would be living now. They would have left each other, and they would live a longer life than they did now. So now the nurse in the hospital, she never gives advice anymore. She says, just you handle yourself. You're adults. I'm not interfering in your people's relationship and your people's lives anymore. I'm a nurse. I take care of you, but I'm not here to talk to you like Oprah Winfrey. I thank you. You had fun. I had fun. We had fun.